Hi, my name is Jason, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to build this DIY audio curve. Welcome to Artificial Human Intelligence. Let's get started. Building one of these audio curves is a fairly simple process. You'll need an X-Acto knife or other cutting tool, a surface to cut on. I have a kitchen cutting board that I like to use, a hot glue gun with glue sticks, a pencil, a measuring tool. I prefer to use a yardstick, some foam core board. I have 3 sheets here, just in case I mess up. 3 12-inch by 12-inch pieces of audio foam. The audio foam doesn't have to be this pyramid style. You can get there's different types of it where this is just a solid piece or it's rounded. Just do your research and decide which one is best for you. At a minimum, you're going to need 2 foam core boards. Try to get the biggest that you can because the excess is actually going to make the pieces that hold it together and make the feet. This is what it's going to look like here. On your first piece of foam core board, you're going to cut out 2 12.5-inch by 12.5-inch squares, and then the excess around it is going to be cut up. So depending on how big your foam core board is, it's going to roughly be about 4.5 inches here and 7.5 inches here all the way across. From these pieces on the side, whatever this measurement is that is left over, you're going to make squares and then cut them into triangles, and I'll show you what that's for and how that works in a minute. On the second one, you're going to cut out a square that's 13 inches by 12.5 inches across, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, or the easiest way to do it that I know of. What you're going to do is start from the side, the shorter side, and measure 12.5 inches across and make a mark, which I've already done here. And then from that mark, you're going to measure another 12.5 inches across, make another mark, and then from the bottom you're going to measure 12.5 inches and make a mark. So from this point, I'm going to show you a trick, because you may be wondering, well, okay, I've made a couple marks here. How does this translate into cutting out exact pieces, and how do I get a straight cut? So the trick to this is you have your mark at 12.5 inches here. You're going to go over here to the other side of the board and turn this the right way, and you're going to measure from the bottom of this one, assuming that this is actually at a correct angle, or it's square, cut squarely. You're going to measure 12.5 inches up right there, and then when you take this measuring stick and lay it across both of the marks, you will have made an even straight line all the way across. Now I would suggest taking the stick and actually cutting across it, but here's the thing. You will notice that my cutting board, or cutting surface, is too small to cut this entire thing at once. So the easier way to do this is to cut this direction. So what I'm going to do again is go across the board here and make another mark at 12.5 inches, so that when I place it on the marks that I made, it will make a perfect square, or perfect enough for this project anyway. And then of course going across it again, 12.5 inches, and then doing the same thing again. As a bonus tip, if you're using a saw blade to cut like a piece of wood, you're going to notice that you may have one piece of wood one width and another piece of wood another width, and you're like, what in the heck is going on? When you're cutting with a saw instead of a knife, because a knife will cut straight through, a saw, you have to account for the saw width in taking off that amount of wood on the side, so in case you didn't know that. So I'm going to turn this direction. I've turned the cutting surface to best optimize the space, or use the space here. And then instead of just doing it by hand, just running the blade across here, the better way to do it is to line up with the measuring stick, if you have one. No, it's not necessary, but if you have one, and then run the blade along the measuring stick so that it actually makes a straight cut, like so. So now that I've cut that down from that first poster board, I've gotten two pieces of square 12.5 inch by 12.5 inch, and the leftover that was on the side, on the top, become the legs for the front of it, of the audio curve. The side piece here, what you want to do is, and see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just ever so slightly off, and that's most likely from the manufacturing process. So what you're going to want to do, and it's less than 1/16 of an inch off, so it's not going to make a difference at all. I'm just going to cut it 4.5 by 4.5 inches, or assume that it's going to be 4.5 inches. So I'm going to make some marks because I need two squares at 4.5. And you could get really exact if you wanted. Not necessary, but. Now I'm going to take the two squares and I'm going to cut them diagonally into triangles. 4 triangles. Second piece of foam core board. So now that we have the final piece here, we can start putting this thing together. So the next step in the process is to take your triangles, and what's going to happen is these are going to be the bottom feet and what's going to hold the whole thing together, or help hold it together. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and make a sideways hourglass with them, and I'll explain why in a second, because this is the easiest way to organize them to what you're going to do next. So we know that each of these sides here is 4.5 inches. So half of 4.5 inches is 2 1/4 inches. So what we're going to do is take, take a ruler and find the midway point. Holy moly, this is my metric one. And my other one is across the room, so we're gonna have to use the big stick. Okay, so we're gonna find the halfway point on the sides here, 2 1/4, and we're going to make a mark. 2 1/4, 2 1/4. A quarter. Two and a quarter. Okay. Then, from here, we are going to draw a line on each of the triangles from the point here to the mark on the edge going outward. Okay, so like this. This may seem a little convoluted, but I promise it'll make sense in just a moment. Okay, so you should have something, looks something like this. It doesn't really matter how big these triangles are if you didn't get the right size poster board or a different size poster board, just as long as you follow this halfway, make a mark, draw a line out to it. And the reason for that is this is our back plate, the 13 by 12.5 inch one, or piece. The 13-inch goes across, so this is going to be the top, this is going to be the bottom. The reason that I had you do it this way is to organize the feet, as it were. When we go to hot glue this thing together, the lines here are going to line up on there like this, and you're going to glue it into place. First thing that we're going to do is glue the audio foam into place, because you'll notice that on the back plate we have about 1/2 inch on each side. If you want to be exact, which I recommend that you be exact on this part, you'll make a mark at 1/2 inch on both sides, so that you can place the audio foam when you go to glue it down, which we will do right now. From here, you're going to be using your hot glue gun, so have extra glue sticks at the ready, because we're going to be using a lot of it, or at least a moderate amount of it. So with your glue gun warmed up, what you're going to want to do is have your audio foam ready, this in the correct orientation, and you're going to start at a corner and start rolling out that glue. Now this stuff dries fairly quickly, so what you're going to want to do is basically get the 4 corners of the audio foam tacked down, because does not really need a lot of strength. And very carefully line up the audio foam and stick it down. If you have to, you can very carefully peel the edge up, just throw down a little more hot glue, Oops. Nope, that's right. Just like this. On all four sides here. So now that is glued into place. The next step is going to be taking your triangles, realigning them, or figuring out which ones go where. So I'll make that hourglass again. All right. You're going to throw down some hot glue, and believe me, don't be stingy with the hot glue on this port, because we know that that one goes on the bottom corner. Wind it up like this and paste it down. Then you're just gonna hold it until it dries. Try to make sure that you're upright on it. Then you're going to do that for all 4 feet. So you should have something that looks like this, with 1/2 inch of extra stuff on the side. Set this part aside for the moment and tack down the other 2 pieces of audio foam. For these pieces, all you're going to do is line it up with the edge on this side, and it'll automatically give you 1/2 inch of clearance on that side. It's kind of important to get it centered, at least somewhat. Hot glue is pretty forgiving, so you can manipulate the audio foam a little bit after you put it down. Just as a tip here, what you want to do is very carefully lift it up, making sure not to touch the tip to the foam, but just inject some hot glue under there and then just press it down so that it glues itself to it. Just like that. Now, of course, with these you can use other types of adhesive if you want to for a more permanent fix or a more solid adhesive stick, but hot glue works for me. All right, so the next step in the process is to attach the legs to the outside. Now what you're going to want to do is make a mark at 4.5 inches from the bottom. So this is where the extra 1/2 inch here is the inside of it. Okay, so you have to decide which is going to be the left and which is going to be the right panel, so that you don't end up doing weird things to it. So this is going to be my left panel, and what I'm going to do is flip it over, and I'm going to hot glue it. So here's the inside part. I'm going to hot glue it to the outside part using this measurement here. So I'm just going to apply a liberal amount of hot glue to the surface, and then very carefully tack it to it. So you end up with this, and then do it to the other side. Okay, now here comes the final step. What you're going to do is you're going to run a bead of hot glue right down this outside edge here on the outside panel, and at the same time you're going to run a bead of glue across the inner edge of these panels so that when you stick them together they adhere to each other. So I'm going to try my best to show you how that's done. So lots of glue to the outside edge here. You have to work fairly quickly. And then a bead of glue to the inside edge of both of these. And then stick them together. And then what I did to my previous one is I ran extra glue on the outside of it just to get it to hold really firm. I mean, you can be just absolutely liberal with the hot glue here. I highly, highly recommend it. So it sticks together and everything is solid. And then you just do the same to the other side. After you're done, make sure that you unplug your hot glue gun and always keep it in a safe place where it won't start a fire. So I just finished as my GoPro ran out of battery. So just in the nick of time. If you set it down and it's a little bit wobbly, that's okay. Just take an X-Acto knife and you can see where I had to shave off just a little bit of one of the feet to make it sit even. Total cost for this should be between $15 and $25 depending on where you source your material. The foam core board I got from the Dollar Tree, so it was $1 a piece for the sheet. Audio foam varies. Hot glue gun is $5–10 bucks. If that, if you have one lying around, it's free. You can find some more information about this project in the link in the description and where to source some of the materials that I have here, as well as a copy of these drawings here. I'll make sure that they're on the website. So I just finished up making the video for the audio curve, and I forgot to mention that if you make one, I definitely want to see it. So you can either Facebook me a picture or tweet it at me, and you can find those links down in the description below. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like this video, share this video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and I've opened up a Patreon campaign, so please consider supporting me there so I can make more videos like this. And I will see you next time.